Okay, in this video, I'm going to be addressing a couple questions that I got on the previous video that I put up, where I was asking my subscribers what topics you would like me to discuss or make future videos of. I got a couple questions about off-leash control, so I thought I would go ahead and start with that. So if you want your dog to be able to respond off-leash in a reliable manner inside the home, you're going to need a couple things. One, you're going to need how to learn to communicate with your dog effectively, so that your dog understands what you want from them. Two, you're going to need a good work ethic. So you're going to have to practice. Getting a dog to move up into the advanced levels of off-leash control isn't something that happens overnight, isn't something that happens in a week. It takes time. Also, some dogs are going to be more difficult than others, and that's just the way it is. Now, if you don't know how to go about this, you can check out, I got a lot of videos on YouTube here. I also have my online training site at mydogtrainingspot.com, which I kind of take you through the steps. But what I'm going to do in this video is just kind of give you a few basic tips that hopefully you can start to think about and maybe start to implement with your own dog, so you start to advance your dog's training. One of the first things that you can do is start getting your dog to be reliable inside the home. All right, so what I would recommend doing is start off with the place command, and that's just teaching your dog how to stay on a dog bed. Once your dog can do that, I want you to practice teaching your dog how to stay on the dog bed when you have a family member walk in through the front door, or a visitor, or a delivery when they knock at the door. Being able to get your dog to defer to you in that situation and maintain that stay and ignore the distraction of someone coming through the front door. And this is a good first step, because this is a situation that is very difficult for a lot of dogs to be able to do. But if you can't get your dog to be able to respond to you inside the home, you're going to probably have a slim chance at getting your dog to respond outside in an environment where you have very little control over anything that could pop up, such as another dog, an animal, wildlife, another person walking by. So it starts off in the home. Once you start to get efficient at being able to control your dog inside the home, then I would recommend starting on your dog's walk. So when you're out walking your dog, don't just think of your walks as a way to exercise your dog. Think of them as small training sessions. So when you're walking your dog, periodically stop, ask your dog to do things like sit and stay. Notice, can your dog pay attention to you when they see another dog? If they can't do that when your dog is on leash, they're not going to be able to do it off leash. Okay, so I would start off in the home, then you start to practice while you're on your walks, when you're going to have a leash attached to your dog. So if your dog doesn't respond, you are able to control the dog, and your dog doesn't learn that they can ignore those commands and then run off and go and greet another dog or chase a squirrel, whatever it may be. So those would be the first two steps I would recommend taking. Now, if you have a fenced-in yard, then you can start to practice off-leash in a pretty safe environment. And I would start off with doing things, not only stays, but practicing come when called. I've got several videos on come when called here on my channel, so you may want to check out the whistle recall video that I put together, so that your dog starts to become more reliable inside of a fenced area before you plan on taking your dog, if you plan on taking your dog in an area where there's no fence and you have no control over the environment. Now, there are some dogs that you can train just through positive reinforcement and put together a good training process through working your dog on leashes and long lines, and your dog can become dependable off leash, say for instance, maybe when you're hiking. Other dogs benefit from the use of e-collar training. And e-collar training is just electronic collars, and this provides you a way to be able to communicate with your dog from a great distance. All right. Now, I don't recommend that anyone just goes out and buys an e-collar and then attempts to train their dog on their own with them if you don't know how training works, because you have to learn the process of how to teach the dog to respond to you and understand what they need to do in order to avoid any type of stimulation that you're going to apply with the collar. All right, so if that's something that you're looking for, maybe being able to control your dog around scenarios that you don't have any control over, then I would recommend meeting with a trainer that can show you how to go over the e-collar. And a lot of dogs don't need it, but a lot of dogs do benefit from it. I have one of my personal dogs, really good around my property, inside the home, inside my fenced areas. But if I take him out down by the river, or when I take him go feed my horses, if a rabbit pops up or a squirrel, then he's got a very strong prey drive where he wants to go and chase that. And it doesn't matter how much food I have on me, or at least it did not used to matter how much food I had on me, he was going to ignore my commands. So with him, I put him on, I did some e-collar training with him. And it took me several weeks because I went really nice and slow, and I did it in a very methodical way. So it did not cause any unnecessary stress to him. And now if he sees a rabbit, he will respond to me. In fact, I think I have a clip that I can go ahead and show you of him starting to stalk a rabbit and me using a leave it command. Leave it. Good. Sit. Good boy. That was very good. Okay, so as you saw from that clip, he was able to respond to me. You may have noticed in the clip that he was wearing the e-collar. And so, again, that's something that if you're thinking about going to look into that with your dog, then get in touch with a trainer. Highly recommend not trying to go out on your own and do this. But if you're just looking to have your dog respond off leash and say in a fenced area, we should be able to get to that level by just following my YouTube videos or other reputable trainers' videos online, or there's a lot of online materials such as my online training site, or you can meet with a trainer to help you kind of get you to a point where you feel like you're reaching your goals with your dog. All right, I hope that helps with some of the questions that you had, and also kind of get you into a kind of a different mindset of thinking what you need to start doing. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video.